a man who starts from scratch in Cape Town and rises to the top of the city's crime empire, only to tragically spiral toward death just as quickly. In this video, we will delve into the assassination of Mark Lifman and the reasons behind it. South Africa's history has been shaped by societal problems and deep injustices, resulting in a complex structure. In this environment, illegal activities have often grown by exploiting the system's weaknesses, leading to the deep-rooted presence of organized crime in cosmopolitan cities like Cape Town. Mark Lifman is one of the figures who emerged in this dynamic and dangerous world. His name echoes through the streets of Cape Town as one of the most controversial figures in the underground world. His rise, relationships filled with enemies, especially his rivalry with other powerful underground leaders such as Peter Jaggers and Nafiz Modack, and his life ultimately ending in an assassination, reveals the ruthless and complex nature of organized crime. Information about Mark Lifman's birthplace and youth is limited. However, it is known that his family belonged to the working class and that he grew up in a neighborhood in Cape Town, struggling with socio-economic difficulties. The traces of apartheid in South Africa were still visible, and the economic disparities between neighborhoods where children grew up were striking. Many children growing up in these areas had to mature harshly from an early age to survive, and this environment had an impact on Lifman's future behavior. In his early teens, Lifman started working as a security guard in local bars and nightclubs, and quickly realized the economic and social opportunities this sector offered. Security work required not only physical endurance but also a brave stance against dangers. During this period, Lifman saw the weak points in the sector and began to turn opportunities in his favor. Nightclub security had become an area frequently exploited by organized crime gangs. Each major club had its own gate, and behind this gate were significant economic benefits. These gates were not only entry points to entertainment venues but also key centers for illegal activities. Drug trafficking, bribery, and extortion grew rapidly through nightclubs. This situation presented serious opportunities for Lifman. Rather than seeing himself solely as a security guard, Lifman began positioning himself as a strategist. He took a different path than others, visiting different nightclubs and taverns, building relationships with influential figures in the sector. At the same time, he caught the attention of powerful mafia figures active in the underground world. This step allowed him to delve deeper into the dynamics of the underground world. His journey from security work to extortion, robberies, and beyond allowed him to rise not as a typical underground criminal but as a strategist. Lifman quickly became a recognized figure in the underground world. Starting with small-scale jobs and extortions, he managed to expand his operations to a larger area. The underground world in South Africa was quite intricate, with political influences playing a decisive role in underground crime activities. By leveraging his relationships with local government officials and touching on the vulnerabilities of security forces, he quickly gained power. The nightclub culture in Cape Town had considerable economic potential at the time, and being active in this sector also meant controlling illegal activities. Thanks to his strong connections and his strategy of staying out of the public eye, he began to gain more respect in the criminal world and grew more powerful. As his organization became more dominant, its members began using more cunning and effective methods to control the market. During these years, Lifman became associated with activities such as extortion, threats, robbery, and even murder. Most of these activities were closely monitored by major players in the underground world due to his growing popularity and new sector expansions. However, one of his biggest achievements was that he had planned these activities cleverly. The strategy was always risky. However, with his timing and intelligence against his adversaries, he managed to survive and eventually became one of the leaders of the organization. Moreover, by completing his security duties, he could easily funnel these extortions and connections between different gangs. As his operations grew, other figures became part of this complex structure, and their contributions to the economy steadily increased. Slowly, they entered businesses that not only served Lifman, but also became sources of income for other crime leaders in Cape Town. At that time, Lifman had strong relations with the upper class and local authorities, allowing him to manage illegal businesses with ease. During these years, the name Mark Lifman had become almost synonymous with the mafia. However, he also maintained the image of a respectable businessman in the town. His targets were not only in the underground world, but extended to threatening others in order to continue his operations. Lifman's most significant and bloodiest rivalry in the underground world was with Nafiz Modack. Modack was another figure trying to gain power in the same sector. Modack's rise gained attention due to the political turmoil and the power struggles among crime gangs. This struggle for control over nightclub security was referred to by the media as the Battle of the Gates, and it affected not only nightclubs, but the entire underground world of Cape Town. The beginning of this rivalry was triggered when Modack challenged Lifman's long-standing dominance. In 2012, Nafiz Modack founded a security company called Eagle VIP and attempted to take control of the nightclub security in Cape Town. This led to a direct rivalry with Mark Lifman, who already controlled the security of nightclubs at the time. Modack's aggressive strategies increased tension in the security market, which had long been dominated by Lifman. The bloody confrontation at Grand Africa Cafe in 2017 was one of the events where this tension reached its peak. The armed conflict between the two sides resulted in innocent people being injured and posed a serious threat to public safety in Cape Town. Open attacks on nightclubs and security companies were now being organized, followed by terrorist retaliation acts. Both men were charged with various crimes, including organized crime, murder, and other offenses. This rivalry went beyond a mere power struggle. It highlighted the economic control of organized crime networks. Nafiz Modack accelerated his activities by targeting Lifman, and another clash between the forces trying to control the underground drug trade and the entertainment sector arose. This rivalry had become a critical turning point for both parties. Mark Lifman's name was no longer only associated with local conflicts, but also with international crimes. The 2017 assassination of Brian Weinstein, known as the Steroid King, was one of the most important cases linked to Lifman's criminal network. Weinstein was a key figure in international steroid trafficking, and he had many enemies. The murder was professionally planned, and it was clear that there was an organized structure behind it. Lifman and some of his associates were on trial in connection with this case. The Weinstein murder case caused Lifman to gain new enemies both in the criminal world and in the legal system. His adversaries constantly brought up the allegations that he was the mastermind behind the murder, but Lifman never officially accepted these claims. However, the case caused significant damage to his reputation and empire. He was released on bail in this case and was scheduled to appear in court on November 4th, 2024. The complex relationships in the underground world became even more tangled with Mark Lifman's involvement with Peter Jaggers. Jaggers was one of Lifman's strongest rivals in the sector and was active in high-risk areas such as drug trafficking. Peter Jaggers' death marked a turning point in the underground world. The murder was carried out as a professional assassination, and the allegations that Lifman was involved persisted for a long time. Jaggers' death led to short-term gains for Lifman, but it also resulted in more enemies in the long run. Jaggers' murder contributed to the expansion of Lifman's criminal network, but it also paved the way for an increased threat to his position. The death of Mark Lifman provides an important example of the ruthless nature of the underground world's survival struggles. However, this battle for survival ended violently on November 3rd, 2024. Lifman was assassinated in the parking lot of a shopping center in George, where his vehicle was shot at around 10 times before the assailants fled the scene. Following the attack, investigations at the crime scene indicated that the murder was professionally planned. Media reports stated that the assailants fired about 10 shots at Lifman's vehicle and then quickly fled the scene. This assassination led to various theories and speculations. Some commentators suggested that the murder was a continuation of his rivalry with Nafiz Modack, while others believed that the ongoing enmities related to Weinstein or Jaggers had contributed to the murder. Two suspects, Johann Jacobs and Gert Johnny Bezuidenhout, were arrested in connection with Lifman's murder. The two were caught 5 hours later traveling between Willowmore and Uniondale, and items such as clothing, bras, and wigs were found in the trunk of their car. The suspects appeared before the George Magistrates Court on November 5, 2024, and their cases were postponed to 2025. However, no official statement has been made to the public regarding whether the actual killers of Mark Lifman have been caught. Lifman's death has had a deep impact on the organized crime structures in Cape Town and contributed to the rising violence in the region. Authorities have stated that a new power struggle in the criminal world has begun in the aftermath of this murder, which has had a negative impact on society. This incident is seen as a reflection of ongoing issues with organized crime and gang violence in South Africa. Authorities stress the need for more effective strategies to prevent such crimes and combat criminality. Lifman's sudden death has resonated widely in the media and public opinion. Some have criticized his role in the underground world and his criminal past, while others have described him as a complex figure. His death once again highlighted the brutal nature of the underground world and how ruthless its reckoning can be.